Well, hello everybody, it's Keegan here. I'm back with another video for you guys once again. And this is going to be my first video of 2025. I know I did a live stream on New Year's Day, but I'm not counting that as my first video of the year. But, anywho. Today's video I'm bringing you guys the first episode of Season 7 of Keegan's movie reviews. And we're going to be talking about two films today, both of which I saw in theaters last weekend, and these were the last movies that I saw in theaters in 2024. Now, believe it or not, I've seen a total of 109 movies in theaters last year, which is way more than I normally would in any of the other years of my life. Well, I guess you can say I really do live for the movies. Anyways, all jokes aside, we're going to be talking about Nosferatu, the remake from Robert Eggers, and Babygirl. So let's not waste any more time and let's talk about them. So we're going to start with Nosferatu first. Now, Nosferatu is the new film from director Robert Eggers, who also directed movies like The Witch, The Lighthouse, and The Northman, which I talked about back in season 4 when I saw that one in theaters at the time. And this film is actually the remake of the 1922 film called Nosferatu, A Symphony of Terror, which was a German film. And this is actually the second remake of the original film that I know of, the other one being Nosferatu the Vampire from 1979, which was directed by Werner Herzog. Now, the original Nosferatu has a bit of some interesting history, being a loose adaptation of Bram Stoker's novel Dracula. Although I'm not really going to get into the history of that in this video, but there are plenty of other videos on YouTube that can cover the history of that, so we're not going to cover that in this video. Now, it should be noted, at the time of me recording this video, I have not seen the original 1922 Nosferatu film, but the night before I saw this new film, I saw the 1979 remake, which I really enjoyed. But I'll definitely check out the original one day. But anyways, we're going to go through the story of this one really quickly, and then we'll get into my thoughts on it. So, yep, let's get into it. So this film takes place in Germany in the 1830s, and you got the Hutter couple named Thomas and Ellen. Thomas is played by Nicholas Hoult, and Ellen is played by Lily Rose Depp, who, for those who don't know, is Johnny Depp's daughter. So one day, Thomas, who is a real estate agent, is tasked with traveling to Transylvania to meet a man named Count Orlok, played by Bill Skarsgård, who intends on buying an old house in the town where Ellen and Thomas live. So while Thomas is away, Ellen stays with her friends, and it's from there things start to get a little bit strange for Ellen. She starts experiencing terrible visions of Count Orlok and starts having some erratic behaviors while Thomas is away. And by the time Thomas meets Count Orlok is nothing what Thomas expects, or is nothing what it seems. As it turns out, he is a man who brings nothing but terror and death to anywhere he roams. And then Ellen realizes there are evil forces that are beyond anyone's control. And you got a professor named a professor who is played by William Dafoe, who's trying to stop Count Orlok before it's too late. And without giving away too much detail of the story, that's basically what the story's about in a nutshell. Now, I really enjoyed this film. I thought it was pretty great. And when I saw this film in theaters, there was a lot of people when I saw it. Well, I saw it in the afternoon. I saw it in the first screening of the day when I saw it, because all the evening screenings were almost sold out. So I decided to see it early in the day. And yeah, I had a really good time seeing this one in theaters. It was creepy, it was dark, and it gives you the chills. And it's just about everything you'd want in a gothic horror movie like this. and had some really good performances. Lily Rose Depp is really good in the film, and William Dafoe was great in the film, like always. And while I haven't seen the original film, so I can't really compare it to this one, but as I mentioned, I've seen the 1979 film, and I thought that one was great. I actually think both of these films are great, but for whatever reason, I think I like the 1979 movie slightly better. But I still really enjoyed this new take on Nosferatu, and it's definitely one of Robert Eggers' best films he's done. Although I'd say The Lighthouse is probably still my favorite from Robert Eggers. I'll definitely do a review of that one someday. And another thing I really like about the film is the music, the set designs. Like, the set designs and the costumes and production value for this movie all look really good and look pretty spot on for the 1830s. And Bill Skarsgård's like the makeup effects for Bill Skarsgård look really good, and I thought he looked pretty cool as Nosferatu. Like, I couldn't even recognize it was Bill Skarsgård. Like, he looks so different. Like, the makeup effects look really well done too. And I loved how the trailers for this movie didn't reveal what Nosferatu looked like, which I really appreciate, because otherwise it would kind of ruin the surprise. But all in all, I thought this film was great, but I think I like the 1979 movie slightly better. I don't know what it is about the 1979 film that makes me enjoy it slightly more than this new film. Maybe it could be the style of the film or the performances in that one. But I don't know. They were both really good remakes, but I really need to check out the original film someday, and I will. But all in all, I don't really have much to say about Nosferatu, so I'm going to give Nosferatu an 8 out of 10. And I would give the 1979 film an 8.4 out of 10. Now we move on to Babygirl. This is an erotic thriller directed by Hallie Ryan, who also directed the film Bodies, Bodies, Bodies back in 2022. I've never seen that movie, but I've heard of it. This film stars Nicole Kidman, Harris Dickinson, and Antonio Banderas, who I was kind of surprised was even in this movie. I wouldn't say I was really looking forward to this movie in particular. I was looking forward to Nosferatu, but I saw this one the day after I saw Nosferatu, and I figured, I might as well go see it. And this movie wasn't that great, but it was alright, but we'll get to more on that in a little bit. So let's just get into the story of it pretty quickly. So in this film, you got a woman named Romy, played by Nicole Kidman, and she's the CEO of this company that specializes in technology or something like that. And she has a husband, played by Antonio Banderas, and 2 daughters. And one day, sometime before Christmas, some new interns come into the company, and one of the interns named Samuel, played by Harris Dickinson, takes a bit of an interest in Romy. And it starts off slow, but then the two eventually start to have an affair together. Like, they have sexual encounters every chance they could while trying to keep it a secret. While Romy tries to keep it a secret from her family. Otherwise, it would cause some problems, of course. And eventually, it starts to get a little bit complicated when the two start to obsess with each other. And without giving away too much, I'm sure you can guess where the story goes from here. But yeah, that's basically what the story is in a nutshell. Now, unfortunately, seeing this movie in theaters, like, my experience seeing it in the theaters was nothing at all like when I saw Nosferatu the day before. Unlike Nosferatu, which was a perfect experience, about halfway through the movie, I started to get a bad stomach out of the blue, and I don't know how it happened. And around the last, 15 minutes, it started to get worse, and I thought I was going to have to walk out before the movie ended. But thankfully, I was able to pull through and make it to the end. And it also didn't help that there was two people sitting next to me who wouldn't stop talking throughout the movie. Like, they weren't talking loudly or anything, but they were whispering, and I could hear them whisper throughout most of the movie. While it wasn't as bad as when I saw the original Carrie in theaters back in July, which that was terrible, but that was still like really, really frustrating to deal with. Two people that wouldn't shut up throughout the movie. Like, for fuck's sakes, people, if you're gonna talk throughout the movie, just leave or something. Just stop trying to ruin it for everybody. But aside from my experience seeing this in the theater, this movie wasn't all that great. But it wasn't terrible. I thought this movie was meh. I thought it was decent. I mean, Nicole Kidman was great in the film, like she always is in any of the films that she's been in. She's usually great in the film. Harris Dickinson was fine, I guess, and Antonio Banderas was just there, I guess. The writing is just, I thought the writing was pretty predictable, and the dialogue can be a bit cringy at times. And I don't know how, but during the whole time when I was watching this movie, I couldn't help but compare it to The Piano Teacher, because this movie, for those who are familiar with The Piano Teacher, Babygirl kind of reminds me a little bit of The Piano Teacher, only I thought that movie was better. But this movie, it was all right. I mean, some of the performances were good, but the dialogue can be cringy at times. And the lighting in some of the scenes were actually not that bad, especially at the nightclub scene around halfway through the movie. And I don't know, it kind of makes me compare it to movies like The Piano Teacher, Bitter Moon, Belle de Jour, and a couple of other films that I think were better than this. But in the end, it wasn't a horrible movie or anything, but I personally think there were far better movies like this that came out in the past, like in the 80s, 90s, 2000s, or even the 60s for Belle de Jour, because that one came out in the 60s. But it was okay, I guess. I probably won't ever watch it again, but oh well. It could have been so much better, I guess. But I don't have anything else to add, so I'm giving Babygirl a 5 out of 10. Well, that's about all the time we've had for today, everybody. Thanks so much for watching. As always, if you enjoyed the video, feel free to leave a like and comment below. And if you're new to the channel, feel free to hit subscribe. And stay tuned for more videos and more movie reviews coming out in the future. I got plenty more coming out soon, so stay tuned for more. But anyways, guys, in the meantime, thanks again for watching. Hope you all have a great day, and I'll talk to you all later. Have a good one, everybody. And yeah, peace out. Bye-bye.